The Chargers punched their playoff ticket in dramatic fashion, absolutely dominating the Patriots on Saturday behind Ladd McConkey's record-breaking day.
You are Locked On Chargers, your daily podcast on the Los Angeles Chargers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, and welcome into the Locked On Chargers podcast bonus episode, a Saturday show. We've been covering the Chargers now for 9 seasons and are getting to celebrate the second time the Chargers have made the playoffs, but we've been the host of the Locked On Chargers podcast for 7 seasons now, and thank you to the everydayers, as always, for making us your first listen. To make sure that you never miss the show, especially extra bonus episodes, make sure to follow or subscribe for free on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel and listen wherever you get your podcast from. David, Jim Harbaugh did it in year 1. The Chargers are headed to the playoffs.
Jim Harbaugh, man, such a winner. He all he knows how to do is win. After being out of the NFL for 10 years, he comes back, doubles the win total of the team he took over, and delivers playoffs in year 1. And not in just any type of game, a dominant blowout type of game where you go in, you beat up an opponent you're supposed to beat, and you do it emphatically.
They absolutely did. It was so great to watch because, especially after seeing the Patriots push the Bills a little bit last week, get out to that 14-0 start, and then have that be a 3-point game, to see the Chargers go out and just blow the doors off them, right? I mean, 40-7, do it in emphatic, fashion. Do it so where you don't have to make Chargers fans have to sit on their edge of the seat in week 18 and have another week 18 game against the Raiders, win and get in. It's like, well, yeah, go beat the Raiders anyways. But for today, you are in the playoffs and did it in a way that I think further proved that the Chargers are so much better than they were last season. Obviously, they doubled their win total. They're making the playoffs for the first time since 2022 and only the second time since 2018. The fact that this is only Justin Herbert's second career playoff appearance is crazy, and you feel like for the Chargers to do it this way, to have their biggest margin of victory of the season, 33 points. Before that, it was 23 points against the Panthers. To have really, one of your best defensive showings and one of your best offensive showings, as you know, hey, not only are we going to go to the playoffs, but we're trying to show that we're going to do something once we get there too.
It's all about peaking at the right time, right? A couple of these games, the Chargers did enough, and I honestly think it kind of started in that second half with that, or before that second half, with that free kick against Denver. That's when the momentum started to change. That's when they started to get on their horse and really start to put points on the board, and that carried over in great fashion against the Patriots, where they punt to start off the game, but then go on 7 straight scoring drives in a row to beat the brakes off the New England Patriots and get a little bit of revenge for the time where they put up 45 points on the Chargers and Justin Herbert a couple of years ago. But this right here, this type of performance in this game with the stakes where they were and the Chargers playing phenomenal football, this is what you want. You want to see your team firing on all cylinders, peaking at the right time going into the tournament.
Absolutely, and I think the other big thing that this game brings, and we'll talk about it more tomorrow when we do another live show and get into a full show tomorrow, is just everything's kind of playing out the way that you hope that it will. The Bengals just beat the Broncos, as you guys, I'm sure, were keeping along with, and now, all of a sudden, the Bengals have a lot to play for in Week 18 and could beat the Steelers and potentially even lock up the Chargers in the number 5 seed. We also might need, a Carson Wentz to go out and beat the Broncos since the Chiefs don't have anything to play for. But either way, you actually have something to gain in Week 18 and can potentially set yourself up with a first-round matchup against the Houston Texans. And I don't think there's any team in the AFC that another team would want to see more right now out of the playoff teams than the Houston Texans. I mean, they seem like they're spiraling a little bit. So we could be talking about a potential win in the playoffs as opposed to having a really, really long way to go against a team like the Ravens or a team like the Bills. This game, though, shows you, I think, hey, at their best, if you get the Chargers on the wrong day or if you're having a bad day against them, the Chargers could potentially even beat one of those teams. But I do think one of the things that can't get lost in this is just the fact that it's not an easy thing for this Chargers team or Chargers teams of years past to be able to beat bad teams. That's been a specialty, right, of this team. Now the Bengals obviously are a win. That's not a losing team because they're now 500. But the Chargers, when you look at their schedule, the only below 500 team that they lost to this year was the Cardinals. So even though they played bad teams, so did everyone else. And now they have a chance to get to 11 wins, something they haven't done since 2018 in Week 18. But they don't get there, David, or even to this part of the season without their rookie Ladd McConkey, who was awesome again on Saturday, just lit up the Patriots defense, pretty much did all of his damage in 3 quarters, and just broke several very important rookie records.
Yeah, Ladd McConkey was uncoverable in this game. 8 catches for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 40-yard bomb from Justin Herbert. And also, of course, he now passes Keenan Allen for the most receptions and the most yards in Chargers history from a rookie wide receiver. So congratulations to Ladd McConkey. What an unbelievable move from Joe Ortiz to trade up to get Ladd, and look what Ladd did with that opportunity. He looks like an absolute budding superstar. It's been so fun to watch Ladd McConkey tear it up all season long.
Yeah, and the fact that we're kind of casually talking about an 8-catch, 94-yard, 2-touchdown performance from Ladd is funny. I mean, the first touchdown he had, just a disgusting route. Looks like it's going to be kind of a mesh crosser concept. He ends up breaking it off, setting up right in the middle of the end zone. Justin Herbert, who was awesome on Saturday as well, delivered a dime to him in the back of the end zone. But how perfectly fitting for this game to happen, for him to eclipse the records of, our favorite Chargers wide receiver and the best wide receiver in the Chargers modern era in Keenan Allen, against the team that has so much to do with it, right? The Chargers had the 4th round pick they used to go get Ladd McConkey because they traded Keenan Allen, right? Yeah. They don't get him without that trade potentially. And also the Patriots trade that pick and then end up taking a receiver a couple of picks later. In that trade, the Chargers got Ladd McConkey and Tarheeb Steele.
Tarheeb Steele, baby.
The Patriots,
and that was the steal of the draft right there from Joe
100%.
Ortiz getting those 2 guys.
And the Patriots took 2 wide receivers after him. The 2
that
picks
have
they
done
netted
nothing
were Jalen Polk from Washington, and also later on they took Javon Baker from UCF.
Ladd McConkey had more yards in this game than both of those receivers have had all season long.
Which is crazy. I thought the other kind of cherry on top for Ladd McConkey too, especially when you're looking at Keenan Allen, obviously a sacred name. And when you know that this season has changed a little bit, that, they now play more games than they did when Keenan Allen's rookie season happened. The nice thing is, Ladd McConkey did it in the same amount of games.
Yes,
15 games. They both played 15 because Keenan Allen missed a game. Ladd McConkey's missed a game up till this point. But they also did it on the same amount of targets, right? So Ladd McConkey on the same amount of targets had more yards, more receptions. The only thing he doesn't lead as far as a rookie wide receiver record is touchdowns. And honestly, he should have been tied for second after this game. Justin Herbert just missed him on what would have been a hat trick 3-touchdown game from Ladd McConkey.
He was wide open again, too.
Keenan Allen, 1,046 yards, 71 catches his rookie season. Ladd now 77 catches, 1,054 yards, and 7 touchdowns with still a game to add on to it. He only trails John Jefferson, Keenan Allen, and Hunter Henry. Henry and Allen have 8 touchdowns, which he could have tied. He could get that next week. And then you have John Jefferson at 10. He would need a 3-touchdown performance. John Jefferson, 10 touchdowns in 14 games is obviously insane. But you have a legitimate case that not only Ladd McConkey is one of, if not the best rookie receivers in the entire NFL this season, but that he is having currently the best rookie Chargers receiver season of all time. I mean, he's blown John Jefferson away in receptions and yards. He had a better yards per catch average, but still, in the modern era, nobody's had a season like the one we're seeing from Ladd McConkey. So to get that done in this game against the team that could have taken you and could have given Drake May, a wide receiver 1 pretty much, they didn't do it, and Ladd McConkey shows them exactly why they messed up. But it was a dominant defensive performance as well, and it came down to one player to me that really stood out above it all, and that is Derwin James. And Derwin James is a threat in all 3 areas of the game, and now, honestly, probably on his way to another all-pro season. So we're going to talk about all that and more on today's extra bonus episode of the Locked On Chargers podcast. I do want to tell you guys about Prize Picks, though. Hopefully you had the more thans on the Chargers Prize Picks this week, because Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members, and it's also the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, because unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in, and you can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. And also, one of my favorite parts, Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in most states, including California, Texas, and Georgia as well. Chargers game is over, but there's still so much action this week and another game tonight. And you could also go with any of the games on Sunday, where you go with Saquon Barkley rushing for more or less than 113.5 rushing yards as he goes for the NFL rushing record. And you could also pair that with whatever you want to get in on the action, including like Jared Goff throwing for more than or less than 249.5 passing yards. You hit on those two, more or less, and you win. That's the great thing about PrizePicks, and all you have to do is download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONNFL on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play that $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. I also need to tell you guys about FanDuel because the NFL playoffs are almost here and the Chargers are in it. And it's not too late, though, still to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. FanDuel has so many ways for you guys to pick up a W. I love betting on which players will score a touchdown more than anything and how many points each team will score. And this weekend, FanDuel has a really, really fun special, a red zone special where you can bet on every game in the same time and currently at the same time, the morning slate, if everyone scores a touchdown in the 10 a.m. Pacific time window, you can get that at plus 135 and just watch Red Zone as you're betting on every single game in the morning slate, which is awesome. You could also do it for every game outside of the primetime game on Sunday night and get that at plus 220 if every team is able to score a touchdown tomorrow. But it's more than that. You can do how many points each team will score, who's going to score a touchdown, and so much more. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your best chance at $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Well, Dave, let's get into the defensive masterpiece that was, because that was the other big part of this game is the Chargers absolutely took it to Drake May, who was looking really good. Obviously, we know that they're a 3-win team, but the Chargers gave them absolutely nothing defensively, and it was led by a man named Derwin James, who not only has kind of lived up to everything Jesse Minter said he wanted him to be, which is returning to being one of the best safeties in the entire NFL, but over the last couple games, I mean, he's had some true game-wrecking moments, including in this game, 2 sacks on 2 fourth downs. Fourth downs have been a trouble for the Chargers. That's what separated this game. That's how the Chargers turned this game into a blowout, was getting those stops on 4th down, and it was Derwin James being an absolute demon in the offensive backfield getting it done.
And the success on 4th down on both sides of the ball, too. I mean, being aggressive on offense and being shut down on defense, having Derwin James do his thing. And yeah, he looks fantastic. I mean, the last couple of games, it's been the all-pro version of Derwin James, affecting the game in every single way, locking up whoever he's covering, being able to be stout and physical and run support, and being an extra edge rusher all in one. That's what Derwin James is capable of doing at his best. After today's game, Derwin James is up to 5.5 sacks on the season. Man, it's so fun to watch him when he is playing at his best and when he's being put in positions to use that skill set closer to the line of scrimmage to impact the game. He is doing it on a consistent basis. Derwin James is definitely back in all-pro form, and the Chargers are benefiting greatly because of it.
Yeah, it would be a disservice if he's not at least a strong consideration for an all-pro nod this year. He is absolutely one of the best safeties in the league, and I think he's the only safety of his kind. There's not any Derwin James out there. There are plenty of very good safeties. There's only one Derwin James, and he showed it again in this game. And that was what really set him apart. His rookie season was how he filled up the box score and his ability to rush the passer, because we know he can go lock up Travis Kelce and put the clamps on him like he did last time he saw him.
Sure did.
He can take Hunter Henry, who's this team's leading receiver, the Drake May security blanket, and hold him to 0 catches on 2 targets as the main guy they want to run their offense through. That's what he did on Sunday. Also got the 2 sacks. Not only are his 5.5 sacks the most that he's ever had in his career, a career high for him, the other part of it is he has more sacks than any defensive back in the entire NFL. That's what he brings to the table. He can lock up Travis Kelce. He can lead the NFL in sacks at his position. That's an all-pro player. That's a depoy type of player in any given game. He is that game-wrecking guy, and we've seen him be a finisher for this team time and time again. And one of the things I saw in this game was Drake May early escaping the pocket, getting some yards with his legs. What did they do to combat that? Okay, I'm going to send Derwin James at you and outrun him. You're not going to do it. Exactly. And when they did it, it paid off. And I thought that was just so cool to see that we're watching the Derwin James that Chargers fans fell in love with. We're watching the Derwin James that can turn a game on his head. So to have this kind of season with this defensive resurgence, it's so cool. And the Chargers told us it was going to happen this entire time. But let's not take away from the overall defensive performance, David. 7 points allowed in this game. It's only the second time they've been able to do that this season. They held the Patriots to 181 yards of total offense. They went up against a bad offense they absolutely shut them down, and I think got some positive momentum rolling after the end of that Broncos game and what they did for 4 quarters on Saturday. This group is looking like one of the top units in the league again.
Yes, it is. Outside of one kind of fluky, free play touchdown, which, hey, credit to Droegemeier for that throw, and
credit to Bud Dupree for giving him that one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was a gift.
Play.
That was a gift for sure.
Jasir Taylor, of course, that is going to take the bad end of that one. It's like, hey, maybe this would be a good Jasir Taylor game. That's the one touchdown they scored. Not great, obviously.
Not great, and also obviously the penalty on the punt return touchdown that also took that away. I had to bring it up. I'm sorry, but
no, I mean it was a dominant effort in all 3 facets of the game, and like the special teams touchdown that would have just really kind of set this off. And like that's the worst thing about it is Darius Davis obviously deserves it, but the other thing is neither of those illegal plays by the Chargers, which were good calls, a blatant block in the back. I can't even be mad at that.
Yeah,
neither of those plays would have stopped Darius. Davis
it was not even necessary. That's
the hard thing.
Annoying.
Yeah, he would have left both those dudes in the dust.
But the Chargers defense was utterly dominant. Outside of that one slip up, the Patriots were 2 of 10 on 3rd down in this game. They just could not get anything sustaining offense. They held them under 100 yards rushing. No one receiver had more than 46 receiving yards in this game, and they were able to sack Droegemeier 4 times in this game. So defensively, this is a complete dominant performance, which, the only thing that could have made it better is if you keep him off of the scoreboard completely. But I mean, hey, this is the type of game where, you want to make that type of statement on both sides of the ball. Defensively, that's almost as good as it gets.
It is. I think that you can only play who's in front of you, obviously, and the Chargers defense is going to get tested again by good offenses in the playoffs, and they'll have to answer that bell. And this game doesn't prove to you that they can. I think the nice thing is you're seeing little improvements in little things that have cost the Chargers and turned, what could be good games for them into bad games, which is how do you perform on 4th down? Because it's very much, it's so much easier offensively if you have 4 downs to get a 1st down. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
You have to be able to get off in those big moments. And I think the other big thing about this game, there's some very teachable moments in this game, but you get away from it and still a dominant win. Yeah. Like, for example, Cam Hart, 3rd and long pass interference play that extends a drive. It's nice that you can go back and look at that with the win in your pocket and giving up only 7 points. You have Christian Fulton, who's a veteran, should know better. Pass interference on a 2nd and 24 that would have brought up a 3rd and 24.
Yeah.
Like, those are teachable moments.
The Junior Colson penalty as well. When a quarterback slides,
totally.
You just can't touch him at all.
That was so freaking soft.
Regardless of your opinion on it, and I know it's annoying, trust me, but when the quarterback slides, you just can't touch him at all.
You can't touch him, right? I think he tried to do the right thing. Junior Colson also had a hit later on Droegemeier where he absolutely planted him, but found a way to not put his full body weight on him, which could have been another penalty, and I thought that was pretty mature for a young kid, and it was valuable snaps for him in this game. There's obviously some downsides to it. You love what the Chargers were able to do in this game. On tomorrow's show, we might do another live show tomorrow night like we normally do on Sundays. Talk about the loss of Elijah Molden, which is a brutal loss, non-contact injury for a dude who now broken fibula. Is what the report is. And now we'll miss the rest of the season. How do the Chargers balance out in the back end? But the best part of this game and what this season has proven to us so far is the Chargers have a coach that can consistently get Justin Herbert to the playoffs. And I know it's only been one time, so I can say consistently, no other coach with Justin Herbert has been able to do it in the first season. And it just feels like they're building towards something where this is where the Chargers are going to be in December from here on out under Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert, all he's done in the first season under Jim Harbaugh is continued to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, taking care of the ball better than he ever has, and now is having casual performances in Foxborough with 116 passer rating, putting up a 40 burger on him. So that's where this Chargers team is at. Thought we saw a lot from that offense. We can talk about the running game, best offensive line game of the season, and it's not even close. So we're excited to get into that with you guys as we get back to regularly scheduled program. This is a bonus show. We will still be back for our normal Sunday night, Monday show where we'll recap the rest of what happened in this game, talk about some playoff scenarios, and thank God that the Chargers made the decision to make Jim Harbaugh their head coach this year, because he's done what no other Chargers coach has been able to do. in the era of us covering this team and the Chargers, the arrow is pointing up. So to make sure you guys don't miss tomorrow's show, go subscribe or follow free on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel and listen wherever you get your podcast from, as well as finding the show every day on our social media. Find me at Dan Talk Sports and David at DroTalkSD on Twitter. You can find the show at Locked On LAC on Instagram at Locked On Chargers and our Locked On Chargers Facebook page. But the Chargers are playoff bound.
Let's go celebrate, baby!
11-win season. But do the Chargers play their starters in this last game? Do they look for that seeding? We're talking about all that and more tomorrow, so make sure you guys don't miss it. But until then, take it easy and go Bolts.